My mother died when I was 12, and my father died 2 years later, after my big sister ruled. She owned everything, and us too. I was the disturbing element of the family. The others were prim, orthodox, religious. I will not sham, pretending that we were a nest of doves. I have to show what drove me to the woods, what caused the real starting of my art. They had put me into the life class. I dreaded this moment. And then I looked up. Her live beauty swallowed every bit of my shyness. I had been taught to think of our naked bodies as something indecent, as something to be hidden. Here was nothing but loveliness. Only loveliness. A woman proud of her shapely self.
Carr went to study in France because she felt she didn't have an artistic language with which to do justice to the Northwest Coast and to First Nations art forms. So being in Paris and seeing the more modern, experimental, expressive art of Impressionism and Post-Impressionism was a real revelation to her.
Why should I bother over those whose views have been stationary for the last 20 years, with their tinkling teacups, tinkling conversation, and little tinkling landscapes, weakly executed in watercolors?
It was amazing. I thought, what in the world is this? Suddenly, I came into this huge studio. I was just looking and looking and looking when all of a sudden, out from nowhere, came this person dressed in a gunny sack and her arms akimbo, and she just shrieked at me. "How dare you walk into my house like this?" I said, "I'm awfully sorry. I really was just looking for an apartment, but I found these pictures." I said, "Where in the world did they come from?" "Well," she said, "they're mine." Well, I said, "I know, but who did them?" She said, "I did them."
Whoa! Get away from that boat! Eric Brown speaking of the National Gallery. I should like to call upon Miss Emily Carr to see her Indian works. Whoa! Hello? Hello? Whoa!
By 1927, there was a significant number of the Canadian elites really worried about whether Canada was in fact a real nation or just a real estate deal.
It is in Ottawa in 1927, at the age of 56, that the legend of Emily Carr begins.
I have had a strangely wonderful morning. I had arrived in the Biog at Lauren, and I pulled out a huge folder of his letters to me. He was marvelously generous to me. He told me despair is part of
every creative individual. It can't be conquered. One rises out of it. I suppose we are only content when all our sails are up and full of the winds of heaven. I hope all your sails are up and full of the winds of heaven.
Into my very mouth, like a great sugar plum for sweetness, dropped the caravan. I call her the elephant because she's so unwieldy and cumbersome. But it's cozy in the van, the rain hitting just a few inches above your head, and you're able to say fooled as you hear its thwarted trickle down the sides. You feel part and parcel of the storming yourself. That's living. You'd never get that feel in a solid house. I am a lucky woman. The mystery of the solemn wood to look into. And I've forgotten all about the grunting tenants. If only I could burst forth with life, spontaneous bursting love, like the throbbing love I had for birds when I was a child. Oh, stop this yowl and enter the joy of the birds. Wake the sail up.